Welcome back. President-elect Trump turning his allies in Congress to help fill out his administration. Trump tapping Florida Congressman Michael Waltz to be his national security advisor. Congressman Waltz joined this program, spoke with me yesterday. Right here, watch. The most important foreign policy decision Trump needs to make when he gets in office is what? I know there are a lot.
Well, I think first and foremost, it'll be underscored by America's biggest strength, which is our energy independence and energy security.
Okay.
Not only will that light our economy on fire, but that gives us leverage over every one of these.
Trump is also selecting former New York Congressman and gubernatorial candidate Lee Zeldin to be his head of Environmental Protection Agency, and New York Congresswoman Elise Stefanik to be the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations. Joining me now is New York Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis. She's a member of the House Ways and Means Committee and is the Republican Conference Assistant Whip. Congresswoman, good to see you. Thanks very much for being here. A couple of New Yorkers here being tapped in this incoming administration. What do you make of these selections?
I think they're great selections. I've been very pleased with every appointment I've heard from President Trump so far. For New York, this is big. I've served with both Lee Stefanik and Lee Zeldin. They are very qualified. They are people who are admired within our conference. And I will say that they will represent the president and the nation well, and I think they will go on to do great things. And this coupled with Claudia Tenney and I serving on the House Ways and Means Committee, where a good chunk of the president's agenda will pass through as it relates to tax, trade, tariffs. New Yorkers have a real seat at the table, and we're really excited and ready to get to work.
Oh, that's a great point. Truly, you're right, in terms of House Ways and Means. Look, the race is now on for House Republican Conference Chair, now that Elise Stefanik is becoming ambassador to the UN. Congresswomen Lisa McClain, Kat Kamak, Aaron Hochul throwing their hats in the ring. Republicans are just 4 seats away from clinching the House majority, which could become even slimmer once the new Congress begins, as both Waltz and Stefanik vacate their seats. Are you worried about this? Both seats are expected to remain Republican, but those vacancies could impact the GOP's ability to pass government funding bills. So, Congresswoman, how do you see this, the fact that you lose these two in the House when you're trying to clinch the majority here?
Well, look, I think we'll end up with a majority of 4. So if there's any more appointed from the House, I guess I'd be a little worried. But I think that we're as close as we can be right now in terms of being united. And I think that this election has really brought Republicans together. We are excited. We are energized. We are ready to make this country affordable again and prosperous. We are ready to expand and extend a lot of the tax cut provisions that benefited the working class, the middle class. It was across-the-board cut, as you know, under President Trump with the Tax Cut and Jobs Act, doubled the family tax credit. He put in place a tremendous trade deal with Mexico and Canada. We're excited to secure the border to finally end this chaos that was created by the Biden-Harris administration with an executive order, 60 executive orders. He will undo it. We have confidence in that, and we will end the mass illegal migration in New York City. And the energy policy that is so critical to everything, from our national security to inflation to driving down the costs of food. As you know, obviously, manufacturing, producing, transporting, refrigerating, everything requires energy, and we need to be energy dominant again. And President Trump will ensure that, and with Lee Zeldin at the helm at the EPA, reducing unnecessary regulations that have just been burdensome and costly to businesses. So I'm excited for the future. I think this is an agenda that unites Republicans. So even if we're, just have a majority of 2 for a short period, I think we will stick together, be united, and get work done.
Well, you certainly have to have the majority. It's going to be critical for both tax policy and the potential for the Congressional Review Act to unwind some of these Biden regulations, right? That's going to be important. Look, New York City is putting an end to the pilot program that gave some migrants up to $350 a week for food through taxpayer-funded credit cards. This decision coming after President-elect Trump spoke with New York City Mayor Eric Adams. Adams said this: as we move toward more competitive contracting for asylum seeker programs, we've chosen not to renew the emergency contract. Since March, the city has reportedly handed out at least $3.2 million in food aid cards to nearly 2,600 migrant families. Congressman, are you sure they only use this card for food? And what do you think about this, ending this program? $350 a week. What were our veterans getting? Nothing, right? Squat. And you're giving $350 $350 a week to the illegal migrants in New York.
That's right. Not only do these programs need to be ended, these no-bid contracts have to be heavily scrutinized.
Yeah.
This is a tremendous blow to the people of New York who pay taxes, work hard, and see that their tax dollars are going to benefit citizens of other countries who entered illegally, paid the drug cartels to get here. So you're already seeing change, positive change as a result of President Trump's election. They're no longer going to hand out these cards. The mayor announced yesterday they're closing 2 migrant shelters. I think you're going to see also massive change on day one from President Trump. We want to end the lease of our national park in Brooklyn, Floyd Bennett Field, that has been turned into a migrant encampment. That has to stop. We passed legislation. Schumer sat on it. So you're going to see a lot of the great things that we did in the House to stop this chaos finally pass, because we'll have the Senate and we'll have the White House, where Chuck Schumer sat on all of it all this time. So it's rightfully due that Chuck Schumer received a demotion here and will be minority leader, because he stopped so much of the agenda that the American people wanted.
Why? Why? I mean, why did he stop so much of the agenda? Did he not believe in it, or he just wanted to play party, or what?
I think both. I think he was catering to the far left. I think he was just wanted to, be a naysayer to the Republican agenda.
Yeah,
and the American people spoke loud and clear, demoted him. And we'll see the similar changes in New York with our mayor, with our governor. Hopefully we'll stop congestion pricing as well. That is something that could be destructive to New York City's economy. And we have President Trump's support, and hopefully we'll be able to get him in office in time, January 20th, to stop it once and for all.
Well, look, you speak about the far left. I want to ask you about Kathy Hochul. President-elect Trump also spoke with the New York governor after his landslide victory. Hochul said that she called Trump to discuss funding for infrastructure and other priorities. And this is really rich, given that Hochul described it as a cordial call after Hochul and New York Attorney General Letitia James gave that press conference last week, vowing to fight Trump and his policies, Congresswoman. What was that about?
Well, that's right. I mean, that was a ridiculous thing for her to do in a press conference the day after the people of New York spoke very loud and clear. I mean, President Trump garnered 45% of the vote here in New York, and I'll say that he has a higher approval rating than Governor Hochul herself. What I think that it would serve our city and our state well for both leaders, our mayor and our governor, to work with this president, work with the administration. As the only majority member now from New York City, I intend to do what I have to do to protect New York and fight for New York. But at the same time, we need smarter decisions made by our state government. They should have heard the message loud and clear. They don't want $5 billion a year being spent on migrant shelters and wreaking havoc in their city. What they want is a transit system that works. And while the federal government, yes, can provide matching grants to support New York City's infrastructure, the burden really is on New York to make sure that they are prioritizing tax dollars so they go to these infrastructure projects. So they have built $5 billion now more a year, because they'll be saving on these migrant shelters, that they can put towards transit. And I highly recommend that our governor do that, because New York has a $240 billion budget. It is about $100 billion more than when I was in the state legislature. And it's twice the size of the state of Florida, which has millions of more residents. This is not an issue of needing more money. It's an issue of prioritizing spending and respecting taxpayers.
So I want to ask you about that, because the SALT amendment here in the tax policy could shake up things in 2025, Congresswoman. What do you want to see happen with the state and local taxes? Where President Trump obviously wants to extend the tax cuts, but he wants to change what happened with SALT.
Yeah, I think we can see, first of all, an increase in the standard deduction. As you know, President Trump had doubled it with TCJA, and he doubled the child tax credit to help families. With SALT, I think there will be some relief provided. I don't believe that the cap will be lifted. I think instead you may see an increase of the deduction, doubling it for married couples, perhaps putting in some limitations based on income, so it truly benefits the middle class. But the real issue with SALT, and why we have a problem to begin with, is the mayor and the governor do not respect taxpayers, and they continue to squeeze them for more and more money, particularly New York City with its property tax system. So what I would say is, we want to provide relief, obviously, to New Yorkers, but if we're going to give with one hand and the state and city are going to take it with another, then that's not going to benefit people.
All right, we will leave it there. Thank you so much, Nicole Malliotakis. Good to catch up with you. We appreciate your time this morning. Thank you, Congresswoman.